Yeah, you arbitrary spoilers. I'm just gonna spoil the whole game or talk about like all the characters. So yeah, characters, they're my favorite aspect of the game, so why not rank them? I will. Why Astana? I have to put a little bit of preference on this. You're going to be, this tier list is probably going to make you mad. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you watch on my tier list, this one's probably going to be, like, the most decisive one, to say the least. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about, like, my overall thoughts near the ending. But, yeah, this is going to be a pretty, whatever, tier list. But, yeah, let's start off with Adol. I want to put him in phase. I want to put him in phase, but I have to put him in love because he doesn't do anything, and most of my like love / feelings for Adol is getting carried by Monstrum and Celestia, or Cestia technically is that it's supposed to be pronounced. Don't bother with that. It's mainly Monstrum that's like I'm lighting on Adol and why he gets into love tier. He probably doesn't deserve it for this game because he actually doesn't do anything to like stand out this time around. Like there's no moment that I could be like, oh yeah, that was like a really good moment for him. Like for him specifically. Because there's some moments where, you know, where he's connected to, like, Donna and Laxia, and I like those moments as well, but it's just, like, it doesn't actually bring him in the upper echelon. But because I played Monstrum, my love for Adol is still, like, there. Like, I really do still love Adol. But, yeah, I feel like this Adol is not the best Adol, to say the least. But, yeah, he still at least gets love. I'll put these together. Alison and Ed, they're both in neutral, purely for the fact of, like, I like their connections in how, you know, they're obviously, like, husband and wife, but, like, it's not done too much. I do like it how they, like, you know, asked Adol to be their grandfather and name them. I think that was kind of sweet, but they don't do anything for the most part, so I have to put them in neutral. Barbaros, or Barbaros, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. He dies pretty quickly on, and I feel like it diverted too much attention to him. Like, it's just like, okay, like, yeah, we're focusing on his death and he dies, but it's also like, it doesn't really matter. Like, no offense, but like, he's not, like, important. Like, he literally gets, like, sidelined. IMO. Like, apart from Cathu, he kind of does just get sidelined after his death. So it's just like, huh, okay, I guess. Carlan, I don't think I need to say this. Carlan gets in dislike because I don't think there's a single soul that likes Carlan. He's just that stuck-up noble person who never, like, gets better. And I was really euphoric when he, like, died, but he didn't die, and it's just like, ah, oh, come on, game, why you gotta do that? I wish he stayed dead, but yeah, close. Donna, however, is another elusive one. Donna still goes in love, but that's also because it's focused on her. A bit of it has to do with gameplay. Both Adol and Donna, they have really good movesets. I like their movesets. And that's probably why they get in the upper echelon of love. Because I wanted to love Donna. I genuinely wanted Donna to also, like, reach the fave tier. But her story just isn't intriguing enough for me. And I just don't find her story compelling enough. I think learning about the past isn't that entertaining, and I feel like isn't like the only good moment of her, like, alone would be when she obviously, like, sacrifices herself, or like, no, not sacrifice, but like seals herself away for Adol's time. I think that's a really nice moment. And another moment I liked is when she faced Olga against Io and said, I see that you're an obstacle I must overcome. Those two moments, I really like those two moments, and they stand out, like, for herself, and it's not, like, dependent Adol, while the other ones are dependent on Adol. Like, I liked Adol catching Donna, and I like, you know, their like back-to-back interactions. So it's like a kind of like ping pong, but it's just not enough for me. I'll talk about it a bit more with my closing thoughts, but it just isn't enough. So she still gets in love, because there were still moments I really loved about her, and I do like her interactions with Adol. But unfortunately, the overarching story does bring them down. Like, every single character in the story in general just brings everyone down. Dogi I hadn't liked, but like looking at it, he's going in neutral because there's just no moment that I can fondly remember Dogi from. He's obviously, you know, the partner of Adol, but he doesn't do anything in this game again. You know, he doesn't do anything in this game, and it's just like his personality can't really carry it for me, because it's just like, well, we're not really focusing on Dogi. It's like, oh yeah, he's what? I don't know. Yeah, I genuinely don't know. Dogi just goes. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oman is close. He is kind of close on getting into like tier, but he's also going in neutral purely because there's only one scene with him, and his overall personality is like, oh yeah, being like a very handy craftsman and having a little bit of passion. It's like, okay, I don't really care for that personality. But what I did like about him, which is how he avoided the no opinion category, is that he like kind of hinted at, or like gave Adol like a heads up or warning, like, there's a certain individual that had that, you know, a red swordsman, and I think him like warning Adol, I think that was kind of a pretty like nice, kind gesture, and I really like that. So yeah. Hummel gets into neutral. I don't know how to put this other than Hummel is literally just a boring character. For being one of the 6 main cast members, he is a very boring and forgettable person. It doesn't help that he's not like present for about, I would say, roughly like 40% of the game, roughly speaking, because sometimes he just like walks off and does his own thing, even though you eventually realize he was probably just trying to find Thanos, or Thanatos, whatever the heck his name was. It's like, yeah, but he still isn't here for like half, like roughly speaking, half the game, and his two quests are egg delivery, and that's just not interesting to me. Like, egg delivery, like, really, Hummel, like, why are your 2 quests egg delivery? And even his final approval rating does not help its case. Like, it's just like, Hummel was already a character I didn't care for, because I also didn't like his kit either, because his kit's just like, it's Pierce, and I don't think piercing characters in the Wire series are ever done right. Well, no, they're probably done right. I just don't like piercing characters. Like, their moveset is like too finicky or like too precise for me, type of ordeal. So yeah, it's just like, if I don't care for a character and you show me their backstory, 9 out of 10 times, I'm not even gonna care for their backstory. And I didn't care for Hummel's backstory either, because he's just not interesting at all. But yeah, EO goes in dislike purely because she's just a bitch. She probably doesn't deserve dislike, but like, her personality isn't that bad. I find it weird, but I didn't really mind it. But what I find that rubbed me the wrong way is that she obviously tells like every maiden the true history of what's behind of Eternia, or what the Great Tree actually represents, which I think that, you're like, okay, fine, whatever. But like, you know, when the maidens are like at their lowest, you like hit them with the whole maybe I wish I wasn't even born type of word. You hit them with that when they're at their lowest, like IMO, just like a dick move, just like poor execution. I get what she's trying to do, But like for me, that just seems like such a dick move. She probably doesn't deserve this. Like I don't know, that just seems so crazy to me. It's like, really, EO? What are you like? What is this accomplishing, EO? IMO, what is this accomplishing? But yeah, it's just like that the whole action it just did not rub me the right way. It's like, why would you? Like, I get the whole, again, telling them the true history, whatever, but like hitting them with that back to back, like, oh, they're at their lowest point, time to hit them with everything I got. Like, why? That makes no sense to me. Well, yeah, Kiergaard, I genuinely did not care for Kiergaard. He was the nameless Ripper, but again, kind of was like Barbaros. It's like kind of like a side thing that didn't really matter, to say the least. And again, he's basically forgotten about, after he also dies. So it's just like, okay, kind of a pointless subplot, IMO, because it doesn't involve the overarching story. So yeah, the Kog, he also probably doesn't deserve this, but he's going in dislike purely because he's a little bitch. He's just a little bitch. And the only way that he's a little bitch is because you had to like wait to learn your new skills. So he like teaches every party member a skill, but you can't like do it back to back. So like if you get one and then you go to like his next position, he'll say, slow down, I'm too tired. And that's the only reason he's going to get this, like, because he's being a little bitch. But yeah, Laxia goes into like, because she's actually really only the other party, spoilers, she's the only other party member that reaches like tier. Because I find her interactions with Adol kind of cute. I like the interaction, when they are like at night, just like chilling. I always had that in my memorable moments. I really like that. They were just chilling. Unfortunately, Laxia's story is also boring though, or like her motives is boring. It's like, oh yeah, my father and like the house of what is it, like Laxia or something like that, it like fell apart because of my father, because he was too developed in his research. Like, I'm sorry, I genuinely don't care, but I do find her interactions with Adol cute, so that's kind of why Laxia goes into like, to say the least. Mia or Maia, whatever the heck you're supposed to pronounce her name, she goes in dislike purely because I don't care for her. She is like she isn't even like the final, she isn't even like an antagonist. She's like meant to, I guess she's meant to be an antagonist because she's the one that created the Lacrimosa. But she, again, is literally just like the last character you see, and there's nothing to really drive home for it. IMO for me. It's just like, okay, she shows up to like explain to world building wise that literally nothing matters because she literally created the world, and if she wakes up from this quote unquote dream, then the whole world gets destroyed. Like that's such a weird lore building that I don't think was necessary, for me at least. So yeah, I really did not care about like Mia when she showed up and her importance to the story. I genuinely just didn't care, to say the least. Minos, this might be surprised some people. I actually liked Minos. I liked Minos because he had a very small amount of screen time, and I think that's why I liked him though. Is because he didn't have a lot of screen time and he had like one good moment. I kind of like that about it. In a way, he's like, I don't know, when this is all said and done, maybe we can grab a drink together. I don't know why, but like, that when he said that, like, man, he's kind of just a chill dude. He doesn't believe in Adol like succeeding, don't get me wrong, but he's kind of chill. I don't know why, but it was just really chill. Like, I don't know, we could just go get a drink together. I don't know. That just seemed pretty chill to me. I really liked it, and this is like proportional to the amount of screen time he had. Obviously, if he had more screen time, he'd probably go in neutral. But with the amount of screen time he had, I think like he deserves to get in the like tier. I completely forgot your name. Miralda? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Miralda. She goes in neutral for. Now again, I don't really remember her, and the only moment I remember her is like her final moment in where she like pecks Adol's cheek, and Adol is obviously like a bit like worried or I don't know, flustered, I guess. And that's the only reason she gets in neutral tier, because she had like one cute moment between her and Adol, and that's the only reason she gets into neutral. Nestor is another just bitch. She like acts all high and mighty and looks down on humans, and that's just something that's just like I was like, you know, that not chill. You know, after like hanging out with like Minos' personality, which is just being that chill king, Nestor was just like that like superior complex. You're like, why are you even trying? You know, my race was superior, didn't stand a chance. What do you think your weak febrile bodies could do? It's like, but Nestor, what? Okay, just really condescending. Didn't really like it, so that's why she gets into dislike tier. Olga, she goes into neutral for being the best. Again, she probably would have went in don't care, because her interactions with Donna are like relatively not connected. You know what I mean? It's like they're too focused on like the impending doom for them to have like a chill time. And before I did my memorable moments, I probably would have put her in no opinion. But you know, doing my memorable moments, I was like, oh yeah, there was a time where Olga and Donna, they did like have a good banter with one another, and I like that. And in doing so, she gets neutral. But she, for being the best friend of Donna, I feel like they didn't really do that like relationship justice, to say the least. Like, it didn't feel like they were best friends, because they were only caring about like the impending doom. So it's just like, yeah, I don't really know. What's her name? Quina? Quina. She also gets in neutral for like only 2 interactions, and that's like her trying to ram Adol, like, follows me to hand, whoa, and she misses. And then the other time is when during her approval rating, where she like again like pecks Adol and like teases Adol, like, haha, you're blushing, run away. Like, that was kind of cute. So yeah, but she only had 2 interactions, so she still gets a neutral, but it was still pretty cute, I know, to say the least. Rastell also gets neutral because he has too much setup. I think his payoff is neat if he had less setup, or if I liked his personality more. I don't really care for his personality, but I did like it when he obviously, like, you know, somewhat got to his senses. Even though his father died, he did somewhat get to his senses and like protected Donna. But I think they gave up too much screen time to him. And again, I didn't per se like his personality, to say the least, for the amount of screen time he had. So yeah. Time to get into the other. Time to Ricotta. She is a pointless child that was born on the Isle Serene. It was never explained why she was on the Isle Serene. Like, it's never actually look at it, yeah, it's never explained why Ricotta is actually on the Isle of Serene. She was technically born on the Isle of Serene, but it's like, okay, but why? It was literally never explained. And I feel like her whole personality of like, oh yeah, everyone here, we're like one big family, Adol is my big brother, and stuff like that. Just like, I just didn't find it endearing. I just found it annoying / cringe. It's not something that I looked away about, it's just something I couldn't care for. So yeah, I think Ricotta was a pointless addition, and again, she isn't like mainly focused onto the plot. Also, you know, her moveset doesn't help in me being stun locked. That was so bad. And but yeah, Sahad's kind of the same thing. Sahad is not an interesting character. The definition of him is a goofy dad, is just a goofy dad who, it's just a goofy dad with a daughter and a fisherman. Yeah, a fisherman with like, it's just boring. Like Sahad, he's not an interesting character, like just straight up. He's just boring. I don't care. Like he's a fisherman and has a daughter. That is not interesting, like at all. And again, Sahad isn't connected to the plot whatsoever. So I really don't see the appeal of Sahad either. Cause I feel like he doesn't do anything, and yeah, and again, some people might like his goofy nature. I personally didn't really care for it. But yeah, the spirits are another one. There's only some of these spirits. The spirits going to don't care. I feel like they were another pointless addition, where they're obviously the ones that blessed Donna with her powers, but overall, they were just boring, you know what I mean? It's like, there's so many of them, but they also don't have a face. You can't really connect them. So it just seemed like a pointless waste of time, IMO, and that's why I genuinely do not care for them. But yeah. Ulan goes into... Ulan goes into neutral because I'll be real with you, I don't really know why Ulan goes into neutral. I'll be real with you, I don't really know why Ulan goes into neutral tier. I think the only reason she goes into neutral tier is because this kind of goes with Soraya as well, but like, I feel like the only moment I have with her is like, you know, Donna realizing like Soraya taking over and Donna like hugging Soraya. And I think that's the only reason she gets into neutral. And yeah, it's unfortunate to say the least. But yeah, now we're gonna do into my lovely section, which is the rapid fire, which is the people I generally like do not care for and I don't really want to waste too much time with. So yeah, Austin, he's a musician. I don't care about him, don't find him interesting. Dina was the like merchant lady. I also did not care for her. She didn't put too much time. Franz is the butler of Laxia. Again, I don't care for him because he's not. These characters don't have like any personal like feelings to them. Griselda, something like that. Also don't care for her. She kind of does something similar about warning Adol with Euron, but because she's like the last castaway member, you're probably most likely going to like meet Euron and have that warning before Griselda, so it seems like a pointless gesture to say the least. Hydra, he's the most like non-committal of the Warden, so I also don't care for him. He's just a character that's supposed to be there. Kathleen was blacksmith. I did not care for her personality or story, so yeah. Cathy, I also did not care for his story, and it's like, oh, he wanted to like, you know, avenge Barbaros or like live by Barbaros' final will. I do not care. Lich, right? Yeah, Lich. He was like that naive, shy doctor. Dude, again, don't care. Luke was the baby. I don't know. You want me to have feelings for an absolute baby? Do not care. Nia was the nun. I did not care for her personal story. IMO. I just found it like not intriguing and just boring. Did not care. Pero, he was a parrot. Maybe a proxy to Mia. But I still do not care for Pero because he's a literal parrot. Reed. While I might have found them interesting, it was literally just a single side story about the ghost ships, and I found it a bit pointless. So yeah, he's going into Don't Care. What was your name? Ouija? Yeah, he's just a child that was forced to like do farming. I genuinely did not care. Sahad, for being the best friend of Donna, you didn't really do anything. Like, I'll be real with you. Again, Sahad, like, given like no screen time, so I don't know what you want me to say. Shubel, I don't know why they made a character for Shubel, but yeah, it's she or he, whatever gender it was. I gave them fish and they gulped it down. Do not care. What was your name? Silva was just an old lady gladiator. Was not interesting. Genuinely did not care. Again, most of these castaways are just like generic. Do not give a fuck. Like even if we try to count their like approval ratings, I still do not give a fuck. Did not care about. And then Thanatos also goes into don't care because I also don't care about it. But yeah, that was my rapid fire, to say the least. Now I need to make sure that this is in order. Okay, so this is the order of things, and from like I like the most to I dislike the most. The no opinions are not ordered because I don't care. I'm like blocking some of them, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's like those two, and yeah, that's the only two I'm blocking. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's it. And now I'm going to go with like my afterthoughts, or like my closing thoughts about this game, to say the least. I wanted to love this game. Truly, I did want to love this game. I loved Monster, one of my favorite games. And for me at least, Donna didn't really meet those expectations, is the best way to put it, which is just unfortunate. Again, I think the gameplay, OST, absolute bangers, loved it, very good. But the problem though is that I'm a character-driven type of person. It's why I do tier lists like this, because I want to talk about the characters. But it's like, if I'm not interested in the story, I become less interested in the characters. And the thing is though, you don't have to have that much of a make sense story. You just have to have a story that I'm like literally just a little bit interested in. But I wasn't interested in the story because the first half of it isn't even pertain to Donna. In where like Donna shows up you start getting her story about 20 hours in, which is I think is a bit too long. And if you say, oh well, you have dream sequences or so, and you have those gray scales, that isn't interesting to me because this is happening in the past and I genuinely do not care. It is hard for me to be interested in the past. I genuinely could care less about events that happened in the past. It's really hard for me to make me care about the past for the most part. So yeah, it's like the discovering the main premise you can really say, if you ignore if you unironically ignore the first 20 hours of the game, the concept or the driving motivator is to try and discover the history of Eternia, and why did it collapse? And straight up, I couldn't give two shits about that. I genuinely just could not give two shits about that. I genuinely do not feel like trying to find out, why did this ancient civilization collapse? Because not it's been done a shit ton, but it's just I genuinely do not care, because it's like, well, we know they're going to collapse. So if you do past events like us like living in like Donna's memories, then almost all of these actions just seem pointless or like arbitrary, to where it's just like, yeah, sure, we're connecting with like Rastell and like Olga and whatnot, but it's also like, why though? They're all going to die, and in doing so, if I know a character is going to die, my investment for the characters just like exponentially dumps. So it's like, that's why it's like just didn't mean anything to me, where it's just like, and not having a true antagonist also, I feel like really did not help this game at all, because there's just no antagonist. It's like Donna, like, oh, like, yeah, Donna and like Adol, what are they fighting for? I don't know, they're fighting a giant tree, or like the Lacrimosa, and you don't even like know what the Lacrimosa is until like near the like better quarter like of the game, you know, the last 10 hours of the game, you don't even know what the Lacrimosa is. So it's just like, not having that motive of a antagonist just like also did not help its case. But yeah, it's like, and none of the main characters, literally I kid you not, if you take away the Isle of like Serene part, it's like why all these characters are forced with one another, the only two characters that are major to this story or plot is Adol and Donna. Laxia is not important to the plot. Sahad is not important to the plot. Hummel is not important to the plot. Ricotta is not important to the plot. 4 of your main 6 characters are not important to the plot. I'm sorry, but how do you find, how can you engage with that? And I know I'm going to get flack for this. If this video ever blows up, I know I'm going to get flack for this, because people love this game and they love the characters, but it's just like, how can you love these characters? Only 2 of them are, relatively speaking, tied to the plot. Like, main cast-wise, the rest of these characters are not. And it's like, you can't delve into, like, their relationships, because it's just like, I kid you not, like, half of these goddamn character approval ratings were just them saying, oh hey, you know, we gotta get off this island. Like, it's just a boring concept. That one word for me just ruins like the whole enjoyment of it, of it just being castaways. They're all castaways. Almost none of them have connections to one another, and even if you have connections to other characters, they don't do anything with that. Like, Olga and Donna were best friends, and they had like maybe 2 banter scenes, and the rest of the scenes are them just like, you know, worrying about like the impending future and why Eternia is going to collapse. And I'm sorry, but that's just not interesting to me. I'm just bored by it because we know that it's going to happen. We know that Eternia falls. It's not fun. It's like these people are best friends, but they have like maybe 2 banter scenes. What is this, man? Like, I am a simple man to please. I'm genuinely a simple man to please, but none of the characters are just like that interesting. Or it's like the whole like learning about the Eternia. It's just like, it's not interesting because I don't give a fuck. I know what the end is going to be. They're all, the Eternia falls, and I know obviously like Adol survives this, you know, the end, you know, selection and rejection and whatever. It's like, it didn't matter. And like the antagonist, again, showing up in the last like 15 hours of the game, they're not even antagonists. They're just the wardens there to watch you. They help you try to defeat the Lacrimosa, for crying out loud. So again, they're not being an antagonist where I can point my sword at and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you. It's just not interesting to me. Like, none of these characters feel connected to other characters. It's just not interesting at all. Like, they're not in, like, I know I'm repeating myself and I'm being a broken record, But I had such high hopes for this game because of Monstrum. And yes, I know Monstrum came after Donna. But I also played Celestia, and I kind of low-key like Celestia more than Donna. And I know that anyone who's a fan of the YS games, that's like a hot take, I guess. But it's just like they're not interested. Like almost all of these castaways, you know, as you can see, almost all these castaways are just not interesting characters, or like they're not like tied back to it. They don't really have like a moment or like a reasoning. It's like, oh, what's your reasoning? Oh, I too was aboard the Lombardia when it sank. Like that's the only reason all these castaways, all these people are banding together, because of that. Minor spoilers for Monster of Nox, but that's why I love Monster of Nox so much, because these are people that are actually banding together for a cause that's not forced upon them. All these characters are forced upon themselves because the Lombardia sunk, and all their objectives were then forced. So instead of being like, oh yeah, we have they all have like different goals to like strive for, it's just like that's in like after that I couldn't give two shits about. The current goal everybody has is getting off that island, and in doing so it doesn't feel as like intriguing to me. And like Adol not being like forced to really do anything. Like Adol isn't really forced to do anything that's like out of the norm that like a reasonable person would do. Like his hand isn't forced, and that's what I loved about Monstrum, because his hand was forced. And it's like I was intrigued about there being like two Adols. Like that's literally all I need to be like intrigued in the story. Like, oh, why are there two Adols in this game? And that's all I need. But it's just like they're not being an antagonist, and it like being set in the past, or like Donna like relearning, trying to remember her memories. It's just all boring and uninteresting. I'm sorry. I wanted to love this game, but it's like because the story is just so lackluster, the characters are just brought down because of that. Like none of these characters are that interesting to me. I'm sorry, but like none of the characters are truly just that interesting to me. It's just like I genuinely don't see how people can like love the characters, because they're not interesting. Over half of them are not does not carry or not like integral to like the plot. You can take away Laxia, Hummel, Sahad, and like Ricotta. They are not integral to the plot. What the fuck are we doing about this? Like, I wanted to love this game. I truly did want to love this game, and I think I'm giving it too much of a hard time because I loved Monstrum so much, because Monstrum is one of my favorite games, and I think I'm giving it a bit too hard of a time because of that. But still, I just can't see the appeal in this. I think maybe a bit. It's just like, the story is just so boring, and in doing so the characters are bogged down, and none of the characters seem that interesting, you know what I mean? Like they all just have like mini stories, but they're not like interconnected or like matters about each other. It's just like, okay, Hummel, like again, like Hummel is just egg delivery, and like, you know, his backstory about his father, I don't give a fuck. Ricotta doesn't even have a backstory because they don't want to explain why Ricotta was on the island in the first place. Sahad is just a fucking annoying goofball. That's your father. Like, this isn't interesting at all. Oh my god, man. I'm gonna get flagged for this, 100%. But that's why I loved, Donna hugging Sarai, because it's like, it's compassionate moments like those that like I love, but we don't get enough of that. Like like how can you have Donna and like Olga? Like again, it's like they don't like their connections, their relationships, like none of it's really delve upon. It's like, or it's like, you know, it won't matter because they all fucking die. Like, oh my god. And another thing is, oh wait, I haven't even gotten into it yet either because I didn't want to talk about it during the Donna part. But like the ending is just, I got the true ending, obviously. It's not intriguing at all. I think Donna going into like the upper echelon and becoming a goddess, I just don't like that. I just don't like that point. I know some people like it. I just don't like the point because it's just like, I just find it pointless or like arbitrary. I guess is the best way to put it. It's like, dude, did we really need to go this route? IMO. But yeah, I think the payoff is just not my cup of tea. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't like it. So like when I say it's trash, I'm just saying I don't like it. I'm not saying it's like it's bad. I'm just saying I don't like it because it's like her ending just seems so weird to me. It's like she just becomes the goddess of like evolution. And then you get into the whole continuity era of like, okay, well, it seems like the wardens are immortal. Adol becomes a warden. But clearly the other wardens aren't afraid about losing their immortality. But Adol dies of old age, assumably. Because he died at age like 62 or 63. So it's just like, okay, so we can assume he died of old age then because of that. But he's also a warden, which are supposed to be immortal beings. So I don't really know how they're going to play out that. But yeah, the ending was just like so lackluster to me because it's like it's like connected to like the main story, but like it's also not because the main story is learning the past of like Eternia. Oh, that's another thing I'm going to gripe about. Learning the history of like Eternia of why it collapsed, yeah, okay, whatever. But learning like the tapestries, like beforehand, like all the interactions with Io, that's even more fucking pointless. Why do I care about learning the history of like Eternia, of like not just why it collapsed, but like the true history that's like in tapestries that are all text-based? By the way, none of them are fucking voiced. It's just like, it's so fucking boring. I did not care. The only reasons I did those dungeons is because I wanted to keep on like seeing what the game had to offer. But that was probably like the most boring shit. You know, the one where, you know, you find the tapestry or like the monolith and you just have to like read it like yourself. Well, just goes on about like, oh yeah, the first king, Uranos and whatnot. That shit was fucking boring and I did not care for it because it's just like, I don't care. These aren't the current characters I care about. That being like Adol and like Donna. Like the first king of like Eternia I do not care because it is not affecting or it is not connected to like Adol in any fucking way. And it's like, oh, it's like Donna's story. It's like, I'm sorry, but I don't care about Donna's like learning the true history because it's not intriguing to me and it's not technically Adol. And I know the main focus is like on Donna, but her story is just so fucking boring. It's not interesting. I know I've said it a lot, but it's not interesting learning the past of Eternia. It's just fucking not. But yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest. Again, it's still a fun game. But damn, is this story not boring AF? And in doing so, the characters are just boring because they're not like connected, and I don't like learn about a lot of them. I don't really like find their motives that fun because it's like, well, we're all castaways at the moment, so who really gives a fuck? I don't want to spoil Monstrum, but Monstrum is just done. Their side characters are just done so much more better. Truly, they are just done so much better. The main cast done so much more better. The story is so much more interesting because it revolves around Adol. Like, Celestia and Monstrum revolves around Adol. This one revolves around on Dana. Or Donna. I still can't figure out her name right, but whatever. And it's just like, Adol doesn't really seem that important. And it's just like, if your MC doesn't have that much importance, then I don't really know. You know what I mean? It's like, they put some importance, but it doesn't feel as Adol doesn't feel like he truly affected this world. This truly does just seem like a side journey where it's just like, okay, whatever. Oh, did he affect the Isle of Serene? Well, no, because the Isle of Serene is a inhabitable island, so no, he doesn't really affect it. And then you say, oh, he affected the characters. This is a YS game. The characters, some characters get callbacks. Most characters do not get callbacks. So most of these characters you'll never see again. But I like to see, like, when Adol leaves, that the other characters at least are changed and impacted by Adol. These people don't, because they're all castaways. And it's just yeah, like, how could you do that to my boy? I love Adol. Like, I genuinely do love Adol. And I still am like hyped for Adol, and I don't want to stay in this like negative mindset, but I just had to get off this. I just had to get this off my chest, and I know if this ever blows up, you people, the YS fans are not gonna like me for this one. But I just have to put it out there. I think the story is just bland AF, and in doing so, most of the characters are just not interesting, and I'm not interested in their stories because they are all castaways, and almost none of them are actually connected to the plot whatsoever. But yeah, woo, baby. But yeah, TLDR. Here it is, here's my tier list. I feel like if the story was just a bit more interesting, and if they were antagonists, then these characters would maybe rile up, or like if they had more connections with one another, I think it could have been a good game. But like, having almost half the characters not be integral to the plot is just appalling in my eyes. Like, genuinely, like 80% of these characters are not important to the plot, and that's just yeah. But yeah, for now, be mad, make your own tier list. If you're mad that I didn't, I don't know, do something that I don't really care, you be mad. This is my own tier list. Yeah, eat for now.